Welcome back. If banning internal combustion engines, gasoline, and diesel fuels isn't enough, a growing number of cities and towns are actually considering a ban on natural gas. While still a hydrocarbon, natural gas was, and continues to be, considered a low-risk alternative to coal and oil. So what's going on? We have spent a lot of time here at Roadworthy Drive talking about the coming and actually in the throes of the electric revolution. And there's a lot of good through electricity generated through renewable sources, saved in batteries designed to store energy, to release it at times when those aren't running. It's a great thing, and it's getting better all the time. However, this is one time, I hate to say this, Chase, I might actually have to agree with the oil and gas industry this time. And let me explain why.
Yeah, please do.
I believe that I see a future where, it should be all electric. But you can't just flip the bird to these folks who have invested the money, and we're not quite there yet on base load for renewables across the country.
But how about building new construction right now? If you could wave a wand and all new construction starting tomorrow, we made electric. Would that be a good idea?
Okay, define. Are you talking about the grid? Or are you talking about homes?
Homes, like homes and buildings. If we could, because we're building a lot every day.
We are. I don't think we're there yet.
Because natural gas is primarily made up of methane or CH4. When it is burned, it mostly converts to CO2, contributing, albeit less than coal or oil burning, to the long-term atmospheric buildup of greenhouse gas. But on top of that, methane itself is extremely potent greenhouse gas, one that in a decade or two it takes to convert naturally to CO2 in the atmosphere is 84 times as good as trapping heat near the Earth's surface.
I don't disagree. That's what I said in my opening comments. It's still a hydrocarbon.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a transition. Absolutely, but I'm just not there yet.
And what do you think? I saw since 2009, the cost of maintaining gas distribution systems has tripled, according to the Rocky Mountain Institute. The maintenance costs will likely continue to rise. Those costs get passed along to consumers, as we talked about. The state energy of California, or in California, projects consumers expect to pay more than double for gas by 2050.
Well, and you know why? Primarily because those people who are still using gas, it's a smaller rate base.
Yep. If it would transition, that could end up affecting people who live in poor neighborhoods.
Yep. So that's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
We have to get our electric grid and our energy storage systems to a point where it's as reliable, if not more so, than these natural gas plants for base load.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Base load, extreme cold, extreme heat, while renewables, and when we say renewables, it's not just wind. We're talking solar too.
Yep.
They do have limitations.
In their current form. But it's changing quickly.
Oh, yes. It's changing quickly. My problem is I think that these folks mean well, but I think it's a little too soon. Because what they did was pick a fight. Here's the flip side. Company built maybe a natural gas plant that they brought online 10 years ago. When they did that, they figured into their costs and what they need to charge people and everything, a 40-year life. 10 years, 15 years into it, cities and towns say now, no, natural gas is banned. You can't use it anymore. We don't want it. Go away. Who's going to pay the unexpired overhead for that plant that they have not recaptured because they may have borrowed money for 30 years, 35 years based on that? The ratepayers. And guess what? Legally, the utility board will take a look and say, yes, you can pass that cost. It's called stranded assets.
Yeah.
That's my problem. There's a way to do this.
Yeah. And today, natural gas is supplied to nearly 6 million businesses, 180 million people, providing heat to about half the homes in the U.S. By comparison, only 12% of all the U.S. are heated by heating oil, the rest with electricity, primarily by heat pumps. My question is to you, I guess what gets to me is, with climate change, how much time do we really have? If someone came to you and said, listen, if in the next 10 years we don't clean up the grid and get off of things like natural gas,
well, now
then we're done for. If someone can, and that's just a hypothetical.
We're at the wall right now.
Yeah.
I think because transportation actually causes more of the problem.
About 20% transportation, 20% industrial, which is included in buildings and
industrial is manufacturing and all of that. that will probably, as they make a case for it, but again, base load. They are heavy users of power. And if you're going to go there, they need a reliable, consistent, day in, day out, 24-hour a day
Absolutely.
load. I think that where we're going on transportation, I mean, let's look at trucking. Trucking's going autonomous or going electric. Why? Money. Driver shortage, cost of diesel fuel. That's what's driving it. And because batteries and fuel cells are falling like a rock, they're at parity or will be below parity with diesel fuel and gasoline, not 10 years from now, literally months.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's a money thing. They talked about, just for example, in San Francisco, if they was to convert everything, they said, now, building a new home, doesn't cost as much.
Like I said, on
if
average,
you retrofit it.
Yeah, one new natural gas customer gets hooked up every minute.
Yeah. But if you retrofit every home in San Francisco to run electricity, $3.4 to $5.9 billion.
Yeah.
That does not even include the cost of stranded assets for PG&E for the natural gas electric plants that will serve it. And that's kind of the catch-22.
I understand, but if
you move the homeowners off of natural gas, but what are you going to do about the utility?
Yeah.
And who's going to pay for that asset that when they went to the utility board 10, 15, 20 years ago to build that plant because they've got their power generation plans to make sure there was enough power available, who's going to pay the difference?
That's where if someone came to me and they said, it's either that paying the difference or, our planet in the next 10 to 20 years, we'll be laughing about the idea of profits when
it's not
the Earth is nearly,
no. This is not profits.
Or about money.
It's fixed overhead. They may have borrowed it. They may have otherwise capital expenditures. This is not about profit. This is about recapturing the investment they made in the plant.
Sure. But then we'll be, laughing about that if
it's billions of dollars, Chase. We're not talking
if the world is unlivable in 10,
but we're not
20
talking
years.
about $15 or $20 increase in your utility bill.
Yeah, no, I understand.
It's going to be hard. And again, what are you going to do about low-income people?
Yeah, I totally agree. That's something we'll have to figure out.
You're going to put them in the dark. They don't have access now.
Same with it's the moonshot. Like in 60, 61, when landing on the moon, they're like, oh, we could probably do it in the 80s. But in 10 years, that's crazy.
And again, I say, transportation will lead the way. Transportation actually should push the bar in getting these technologies to market. As the technologies become cheaper, then we can talk about subsidies, other sorts of grants maybe for low-income people or credits, but we're not there yet.
I agree. I just hope we can do it in time.
I don't know.
That's what worries me. That's what worries me. I hope my kids...
We should have come to grips with this 15 years ago.
Exactly. I hope my kids and because most scientists you talk to say we need to be electrified tomorrow to stand a chance.
But the problem, part of the problem was...
I hope my kids and grandkids can live on a habitable planet where they have fresh food.
The part of the problem, Chase, is 10 years ago we didn't have the technology to do it. We needed to have it done.
Or the political will.
Well, even if we had the political will, we didn't have the technology 10 years ago that we have right now.
And it takes, research and investment and that kind of stuff.
And I completely agree. I just hope we can get it done in time.
Me too. Coming up, we take a look.